Roberto, thank you for joining us today. You are the manager of the first team this season, and you have also worked with this club in its very first 2 seasons. How does it feel to be back?
Well, it feels good. As you said, I was Sweden United manager for the first 2 seasons, therefore I know this club practically from its foundations. I have a certain bond with this club, even when I finished my first experience and I was with another club. I took a look at what we were doing in the league, you know. Therefore, I love the club, to make it simple. Obviously, when the committee approached me to come back, nearly at the end of last season, for me it was a big pleasure to come back here because I know how the club works. And to be honest, I accepted the offer because I feel at ease working with the people involved within Sweden United.
All right. What, from your perspective, has changed about the club from the beginning until today?
Well, obviously, at the beginning there were many people involved, but they didn't have experience in football. Therefore, many decisions were taken after consulting myself, because they had no experience. I think the most important difference is that the club has more experience nowadays, and also it has a structure. At the beginning there was nothing, everything was made from scratch, but now there is a structure. If we're speaking about administrative issues, there is an administration, has a structure. Me as the first team manager, I have a coaching structure within the club. Therefore, I think experience plus structure.
Basically, training schedules are given to the team every week, basically on Facebook. The boys have been looked at, they have been working well with the directions you gave them, and also you've directed them through different areas. How did they respond to the directions given by you, maybe in the pre-season and later on during this season?
Alright, let's start from one important point. Me as a coach, I have to fulfill 2 roles. The first one is that of a salesperson. I have to sell to the players my vision and my philosophy. If a coach tries to input his philosophy and the philosophy is not accepted by the players, he has problems. Therefore, that is the first step you have to do. Secondly, you have to be a leader. The coach obviously must be a leader of the team, and the players must follow his vision and his philosophy. And this was the first thing I've done at the beginning of the season, even before we started pre-season. I wanted that the players know exactly what my philosophy is. And my philosophy this year was that we have to introduce more the culture of working. Results do not come just by luck or by coincidence. They are a result of hard work, and therefore I wanted the players to know that if they work hard, results will start coming. And I think so far this is paying off.
In the squad there are players who have already been coached, but a lot which have been basically you've met up just this season. Also including a number of foreigners who have just come on board. How do you feel about this?
Well, as a coach, you have a role of meeting people, and as I said before, you have to lead people. Therefore, for me, it's something normal to meet new people. Obviously, I think we've done a very good job to form up the squad as early as possible. There were obviously players I coached before that they were already here at Sweden. I think I have a good relationship with them. Also, there are new players. Obviously, we made a lot of homework to form the squad. But it's something a coach has to work with every minute of the season, because obviously a football team is made up of humans. Therefore, you have to face their personal problems. If a player is not playing, you'll ask questions why he's not playing, what reasons there are behind my decisions, etc. But from the beginning of the season, I started to introduce the new culture that we are a team, not an individual. Even when a player speaks to me or between themselves, they don't use the word I, but they use the word we. Right? And I think it's a very important concept in a football club, because, alright, I may play you and I may rest someone else, but if you play instead of Mr. X, you have to fill his role, and you have to try to win your place in the first 11. So, and also the performances have shown that even when we had players missing, and so far I have to say we didn't play one game with a full squad, because in every match we had players missing. The players who were introduced in the team, they gave their input at the maximum level, and that's why we had a sort of consistency in our team. But obviously when you're managing 20-25 players, problems arise every day, I think, and that's the job of a coach, to be capable and try to solve these problems, tackle them immediately. But obviously when we formed the squad, we had a very clear look at the type of personality a player has. I don't want a player to be a football star, but then regarding his personality, he lacks a lot. Therefore, I prefer that with regards to football matters, levels are not so high, but regarding personality, he has a very good personality and he can be a team player. And I think so far it was a very good equation.
Yes, fair enough. The season is up and running now. The first 8 games have been played. We face a number of prominent clubs who maybe will be challenging for promotion this year. What are your reactions so far on the performance of the squad?
So far, I think we've done very good. Although we didn't reach our full potential, but we're doing very good. Obviously, after analyzing my squad and our opponents, I think there is a lot of balance in the league. Maybe there will be 2-3 teams who are a bit better than the others, but then there are 6-7 teams who are on the same level. Well, regarding the results we obtained, I think it showed that we are a good side for third division, and I acknowledge that from the beginning of the season. I wanted to have, as I told you, a squad, not an individual team. And maybe one thing we have different from other clubs is that we have a squad, not just a starting 11. Therefore, if we have players missing, the players who are put in the starting 11, they balance the team very well.
In the UBAT FA Trophy, we missed qualification in the third round just for a couple of seconds when Sweetie were 2-0 up in the first half. At Marsa Schlock, again, Sweetie were 2-0 up and Marsa Schlock in the end won. What do you think went wrong?
Obviously, they were two disappointing defeats to start from that point. But I think it's not ideal to compare one defeat with another, and I will explain why. The game against Marsa Schlock, it was a league match. Right? We were coming from 3 consecutive wins, and we were playing very good. And Marsa Schlock obviously were considered to be one of the bottom teams of the league. Therefore, after being 2-0 up, it seemed that the players relaxed. They had a relaxation on the pitch, but I don't want to put pressure on the players. I think it was also my mistake tactical mistake that I did not change tactics during the match, and eventually Marseille Stock, after scoring their first goal, got the 3 points. Regarding the match against Sigiwi, a cup tie is always a cup tie. Therefore, when there were the draws, obviously when Sigiwi were drawn up with 3, everyone thought that Sigiwi will have the easiest win they can have. Me on a coaching side, I decided that the match against Sigiwi will be a good opportunity for some players who are not having playing time to get playing time on the pitch. In fact, I changed 7 players out of 11 from the first team. But the good thing was that these players showed up for the match, and they had a very, very good performance. Obviously, being 2-0 up against the second division side after 20 minutes, expectations rose. I don't think no one expected, except me and the coaching staff, to have such a good performance. When we analyzed the match, the first goal, it was a wonder goal of Sigiwi. Therefore, I don't think if that player will try it a million times, he will score that type of goal. The second goal, it was something, maybe lack of experience, because when you concede a goal 50 seconds from the final whistle, it's not something tactical, it's something lack of experience or a bit of relaxation. But I think overall, alright, we lost the match in the extra time, but we have to take the positives. And from every match, I think it's important we look at it from a positive side, not from a negative side. Because if we start blaming one player or another, or the coaching staff, or whoever he is, because we lost, we're not going to make a good move. We have to take the positives, and the positives from that match were that we played exceptional football, especially in the first half. Sigiwi, we were looking to be a normal team against the third division side, and therefore I think it was a good test, even for the players who played that match, and obviously we have to move forward.
In the match against Attard now, a much respected side in the third division, as you know, the opposite happened. Sweetie managed to get the 3 points after being 1-0 down. What do you think has changed from the previous encounters?
The influential change that there was during that match was that we were the underdogs. Against Marseille Lock, we were the favourites for the 3 points, but against Attard, we were the underdogs because Attard had more points than us in the standings. But apart from this, I have to highlight one point. I encourage the players that to achieve what we are aiming for, we have to have a regional mentality. What does that mean? In football, the big teams always start as favourites, but many times there are surprises from clubs who are in the bottom of the standings. And these clubs, they play with a regional mentality. They give it all, they have nothing to lose, and eventually they obtain results. And this is something we have to push on. We cannot think that we are the favourites in any match of the season. We have always to consider ourselves the underdogs. Why? Alright, we are obtaining results, but when you have a look at the history of the clubs, SWE is a new-born club. Therefore, other clubs have more experience than we have. So we are always the underdogs. And when you are an underdog, you have to play more with passion on the pitch. And I think against Attard, who obviously are one of the promotion contenders, after being 1-0 down, the players showed that mentality. They fought for every ball. We drew after 4 minutes, and then we went 2-1 up in the second half. And although Attard tried to make pressure, we were good enough and compact at the back not to even let them have one shot on goal. And that showed that we are on the right track regarding mentality, because it's important to achieve. You have to have a winning mentality, and the winning mentality means that even if you're winning 5-0 up, you have to continue fighting for every ball. something which we lacked against Manager, unfortunately. But a mentality does not come in a team all of a sudden. You have to work and you have to build day by day to achieve this mentality.
Yesterday's encounter saw Sweetie beat Luqa, a match which saw a goal early in the first half, but in the second half Luqa had more control of the match, but our defense was strong. It seemed that it was very strong. A match which we won 3-0. So Sweetie are capable of defending their lead, they are capable of leading the match, and as you said, like trying to defend what they got, but keep pushing forward.
Yesterday it was a direct clash. Luqa were with us joined in third place with 15 points. Therefore, I think yesterday it was a good test to show if we are capable or not of moving forward. Right? It was a bit of luck that Luqa played on Monday. Therefore, I could go and analyze our opponent. But yesterday I think the boys responded very well. When we analyzed the match in the first 10-15 minutes, we had 3 one-on-one occasions with the keeper, but unfortunately we didn't score any one of them. But then after we scored the first goal again, the mentality went up. Why? Because we started to drop back. And that was something I didn't want. In fact, at the end of the first half, I think it was a very balanced affair, especially in the midfield. We started winning possession, then winning possession again, etc., etc. In the second half, alright, they went out more aggressive, trying to search for a goal. But basically, I think it was a deserved win. When you have a look at the statistics of the match, apart from the 3 goals we scored, we had 3-4 clear chances, while Luqa only had 1 shot on goal in the first half, and they had the penalty saved by Met in the dying minutes of the match. Therefore, obviously it was a deserved win. Obviously, it's only 1 match, and we have to look forward for our next match.
On a recent comment on Facebook, you urged players to ignore all statistics and to focus on their next matches. Is this strategy you deem fit for challenging all opponents coming up?
Yes, sure. When you start having frequent looks at standings, you end up putting pressure on yourself, because I hear many comments. For example, Sirens drew at Tashbih, therefore we can bounce back. Santa Lucia drew to Jar, therefore they lost 2 points, etc., etc. But my priority is that we win our match, so we have to do our job. It is useless that other teams lose points and we don't win our matches. Therefore, we have to go on the pitch as if every match was a final. And if we go with that mentality and ignore all standings and all statistics, we can deliver. We don't have to rely on other teams to reach our target. We have to do our job first and foremost. So we will have a look at standings at the end of the season, not now, because it's useless. We have to do our job, and that is the mentality we have to have, obviously, to move forward during the season.
It's very early to tell, and a lot of games need to be played, and the season is far from over. You have witnessed a number of performances under this week since your triumph in this club in the beginning and today. Do you think that the club is on the right track when it comes to its underlying mentality and the ultimate performance of the players on the pitch?
Well, I think the results so far show that we are on the right track. Obviously winning 6 matches out of 8, which makes it 75%. It's a clear indication. But obviously there is a lot of work to be done. I'm a human being, therefore I make mistakes as everyone can do. And one mistake I don't want to repeat is when I was here in my second season, although on paper we had a very good team, I stated publicly that we don't have any pressure because we don't have an aim of getting promoted, which was a false statement, because our aim was to aim high. But I think from that mistake I learned that you have to put a challenge in front of the players. So the ambition must be the highest possible ambition you can have, even if on paper you don't have the best team. Therefore, our ambition is to end up on top of the standings. Obviously, it will not be an easy task. As I said, there are good teams, it seems to be a balanced affair, but this club, with the experience caught during the past 4 years, and obviously with the resources we have at our disposal, I think we are on the right track. If we work hard, we can, at the end of the season, celebrate something important. Especially, we are on the 5th anniversary of the club. Therefore, as I stated before at the beginning of the league, it is important that this club looks forward to continue to grow. It has a professional setup. Very few clubs in Malta has this sort of setup, and we have to concentrate on what we're doing and not relying on someone else's favor. But with how the club is working, with how the players are responding to the training, we are sure we can achieve something important, and this is my aim. We have to write history this season, and it is why we are working hard, because SWE must have their best season throughout these 5 years of existence.
Roberto, thank you for joining us in this interview. I also thank Cavalieri Hotel for giving us this place to shoot today. We'll be with you shortly with other interviews which will be interesting in the future.